Good evening. I'm Sister Ramona Bezner. I live at Our Lady of the Lake Convent, and I'm really happy to be participating in this little retreat with you this evening. I've chosen to do a little reflection on the prayer, the Memorare, and I'll tell you why I've chosen that. I have always had a devotion to Our Lady, often using the Rosary as the way to express my love for her. Several years ago, that changed. The change came about through the death of my sister Viola, or Vi as we called her. She had been a member and an employee of a charismatic community for over 40 years. She passed away when she was still working for that community in Dallas. The memorial card which was used at the funeral was put together by her community. On the front of the card was this beautiful picture of Our Lady. My first words on seeing it were, "Remember, O most gracious Virgin Mary, that never was it known." And that is the Memorare. It was at that moment that my daily devotion to Mary was clearly identified by praying the Memorare each morning. It has come to mean a lot to me. Participating in this retreat through this reflection has given me the opportunity to think more about the prayer and to reflect more specifically on parts of it. It clearly tells us to have great confidence and trust in Our Lady. Never was it known that anyone who fled to her protection, implored her help, was left unaided. We ask and we will receive. It doesn't make any difference how many times we ask. There will always be an answer. And this is supported by the wedding miracle that we see in John's Gospel. Mary asked for water to replenish the empty water pots. She got much more, not water, but good-tasting, sparkling wine. The generosity of Jesus at the call of his mother got far more than she expected. In turn, we will never be turned down by Our Lady, never given less than we need. So I bring each day all kinds of needs to her, the needs of my family, the needs of my congregation, the needs of the world. I just sit comfortably and let everything that comes to mind arise in my heart, to let Mary look at it and do what is best for me. This prayer can inspire great confidence if we just come before Mary, stand before her just as we are, shortcomings, failures, sins even. When we talk to Mary, we know that she listens. We don't know a lot about Mary, but we do know that she was a generous woman. 6 months after she was pregnant with Jesus, she hastened to Elizabeth to help her during the last months of her pregnancy. Mary was happy to help. Her cousin was in need. Perhaps she was also hoping to learn a little bit from her about her own pregnancy. Mary was so young. Mary visited her cousin to help her. We might ask ourselves today, during this time of the pandemic, when so many people are in need, who is visiting us? Who is at our door asking to be let in? Maybe one of our children needs special attention today. A family member or a neighbor might need food, something from the drugstore, someone to babysit, or just a word from us. It is good for us to think about who's coming to our door, and are we welcoming them? Will we let them in? Will we join Mary in hearing and answering their needs? In the last part of the Memorare, Jesus is mentioned as the Word incarnate. Mary is the mother of this Word, and surely will get help and support from her Son to work in our world today with our own pleadings. With Mary, through praying the Memorare, and with her Son's help, we can respond to the world's plea for mercy and for love. The world is divided, diseased, near despair in many places. We have been urged by Francis, our Pope, to enter more deeply into prayer and seek God's mercy for the world. Now is the time, now is the moment to respond to that call from God. As we help to make the world a better place, we are also growing in our relationship with God, a goal that each of us has for our life, always to draw closer and closer to God. Here are some questions that might help us grow in our faith. How is it for you to see the world today being rapidly changed? Where do you find the grace to live in peace at this time? What have you been able to see during this time of darkness that you may not have seen clearly otherwise? There are questions of your own that may arise from time to time, calling you to respond to God's grace and Mary's help. So as we close in praying the Memorare, know that there is no greater blessing than this, God's grace and Mary's help. And so we pray, remember, O most gracious Virgin Mary, that never was it known that anyone who fled to thy protection, implored thy help, or sought thy intercession was left unaided. Inspired by this confidence, I fly unto you, O Virgin of Virgins, my Mother. To thee do I come, before thee I stand, sinful and sorrowful. O Mother of the Word incarnate, despise not my petitions, but in your mercy hear and answer me. Amen. God bless you.